This next concept is called Make It Fit. And we're about to enter just a couple concepts that are more about application. We've done a lot of stuff that's just really about building up an arsenal of tools, concepts that are about neck knowledge, arpeggios, triads, seventh chords, a lot of really important stuff that, will require some practice and some homework. The What we're doing here is we're getting into trying to pull some of these elements together. Now, working out a solo, you got licks. The great thing about licks is that they're little bits and pieces that work as phrases. You know where they start, you know where they end, and you've got them kind of lined up in your head, ready to go, and you slot them in as you feel the opportunity. You get to know where they fit. You start to feel it as the music comes. Things that happen when you're actually working on a song is that hard rock, man, it's pop music. It's popular. So it conforms to a lot of what we know and love about pop music, which is that the solo sections are only so long, and you wind up in a problem-solving situation. You're like, okay, what do I want to say, and how long do I have to say it? What you wind up with is certain of your licks. Let's say you got a cool lick that just something basic, right? But you're not sure where you want to fit that in with the chords and stuff like that. Let's say you have some scalar material you want to get to. You want to get to a big, you want to do a nice, scalar run. You need to know where does it start and where does it end. And what I've found in, trying to come up with solos, it's like the most important thing is where something starts and where it ends. And what happens in between, like what exactly the fast stuff is that goes on in between, that's not, as important. You could spend a lot of time working on every permutation of a scale sequence, like so on and so forth. You can get a million of them under your fingers. But really what happens is people are like, man, the guitar sounds cool. Ooh, that's a nice place to start the solo. Fast stuff. Ooh, that's another cool note. Fast stuff is just fast stuff. It's energy. And what happens is you just got to know you start in the right place and end in the right place. Start strong, end strong. And you want it clean. You don't want sloppy gobbledygook, right? So this is about making that stuff fit. And the way you make it fit is by hearing what the big beat is and figuring out where you need to start and where you need to end. Like, say I want to get there. But, if I do it at 3-note per string land, or I apply a pattern so that it takes it's a whole bar. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. Land solidly on the next downbeat. Okay, that's one application. Well, what if I need to start the run on the 3 of the bar before? So I actually need 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I need like 5 beats worth. How do I get that out of it? And so what I ordinarily do with my 3-note per string stuff is I create situations where I double back. So like that pattern, that's one. Let's say I need to get all the way up here for some reason, right? That's pretty basic. But let's say it needs to go on longer than that. There's the band plays, where I need it to start is here, and I need lots of fast energy all the way up to this next part. I need it to take longer. So what I do is I just figure out where I need to double back in order to get that, run to take longer. anything like that. So like there's a typical one is, right? Another one is just to keep backing up a string. Other things that I've employed are, and you hear the guys in Avenged Sevenfold do this a fair bit, wherever you need to get to, like let's say that the chord changes there and I actually need that run to end on a D instead of an E. I could insert a chromatic note in between so that I land solidly on the D at the very end. Or you can do a kind of a double pick with a bend inflection, like that's another possibility for winding up on the D. Another thing, and this is like getting a little guitar esoteric, is to, let's say I'm doing a descending run, but I don't need to end there. I can do something like this. And in this case, I'm using 3-note per string, but I'm not shifting positions to stay directly scalar. So instead of right, that ends on the F. Let's say I need to end on the G. Okay, so it's goofy, but it gets, it keeps you from, when you add chromatic material on the scale, you hear that. You'll hear, oh man, there's that note outside the scale. When you just repick the same note by playing it across two separate strings, it's still just totally in the key. So it's a different choice. This is something that's cropped up a lot, like on the TSO gig. We wind up doing this kind of thing a fair bit whenever we need to, when you need to end right, you need to double pick a note. You just do it across strings. So, that's one example. Another thing in the make it fit zone, and this is for, this level of chopsy playing that gets beyond, like, it's so fast you can't really hear what's going on underneath it, is what's called cramming. So instead of what we were just doing here, which is doubling back and inserting extra notes in order to make sure you end right, but your rhythmic subdivision is totally, 8th, 16th, 16th note triplets is totally dead on the money. The idea of cramming, and this goes all the way back to like blues players and stuff like that, is that you are hearing the big beats. Like I'm hearing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I'm hearing that. And what goes on in between there, between 1 and 1, you just cram everything in that you can so long as you end at the right beat. And it's, you run the risk of sounding like out of time, but if you have the correct amount of like authoritativeness in terms of where you end up, where you start and where you end up, if you have the big beat strong in your playing, you can mess with the subdivision. So you've seen people transcribe solos where they've got groupings of 9 and 7 and whatever. And it's like, they're not really hearing 9s and 7s, man. They're just putting in every note they can between, beat 1 and beat 3, or et cetera, because that's where their fingers fall on the guitar. And that's what makes that happen. And that's totally cool because it's rock and roll. You get to do what you want. The last element about making it fit and all this is just a basic thing on the guitar to do what is ergonomically expedient is sometimes the best way to get this energy in fast playing, so you don't really think about the key. A lot of guys practice their practice guitar playing by doing like 1, 2, 4s, is that a scale? No, it's not. But is it totally useful on the guitar when you just want something that's like blah, 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 blah? Yes, it's totally useful. So I'm not, I didn't come up playing that way, but I've come around to finding that, there are uses for just like 1-2-4s and symmetrical fingerings and stuff like that. When you want to cram something fast and just, odd sounding into a tight space, it's okay to use all that stuff. So that's making it fit, and it's all about problem solving, figuring out where you want to start, where you want to end, and what goes in between is up to you.